The man who allegedly shot and killed Charlie Kirk is expected to face the charges against him in a courtroom tomorrow. Utah's governor told reporters that 22-year-old Tyler Robinson is not cooperating with authorities. He also said investigators are still trying to figure out a motive for the killing. CBS News' Bradley Blackburn is here with me in studio with more on this. Good morning, Bradley. What do we know?
Errol, he is not cooperating, but his family and friends are. And officials do suggest that they are making progress in this investigation as they comb through the suspect's life for clues. Authorities are sharing new details about the suspect charged with killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk last week. The Utah County Sheriff says 22-year-old Tyler Robinson is being closely watched in a special housing unit.
He does come from a conservative family, but his ideology was very different than his family.
On multiple Sunday news shows, Utah Governor Spencer Cox said Robinson is not cooperating, though his friends and relatives are.
The roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. This partner has been incredibly cooperative, had no idea that this was happening.
The governor added that at this time, it is not clear if the roommate's identity is relevant to the case. According to a police affidavit, the roommate showed investigators Discord messages that the suspect sent mentioning a rifle wrapped in a towel left in the bushes and bullet casings with anti-fascist inscriptions, all similar to evidence authorities say they've collected. The affidavit also says a family member told police that the suspect had mentioned that Kirk would be in Utah ahead of last week's event. Vigils honoring Kirk were held around the country yesterday, including at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C.
Charlie Kirk did so much in his short life.
Kirk's public memorial service is scheduled for Sunday at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona.
We lost a great person.
President Trump says he plans to attend. On Friday, Charlie Kirk's widow gave a live-streamed speech from the set where he recorded many of his videos. She thanked his supporters and the president and vice president for their support. The vice president himself will host Kirk's podcast, The Charlie Kirk Show, later today, Errol.
All right, Bradley, thank you for that. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand joins us now from the White House with more. Natalie, good morning. President Trump says he will attend Kirk's funeral, which we just heard about. Tell us about that and the overall impact of this assassination in Washington.
Yeah, President Trump confirming to reporters that he will leave early Sunday for Kirk's funeral to be held in Glendale, Arizona. We've also learned that Vice President J.D. Vance, who, as we've been reporting, was extremely close with Kirk, says that he will today host the Charlie Kirk Show, his podcast, to pay tribute to his friend. And also in Bradley's report, you saw the clips of this prayer vigil held at the Kennedy Center last night, attended by a number of top White House officials, some top Republican lawmakers, including the Speaker of the House and also grassroots activists. Now, House Speaker Mike Johnson, in some lengthy comments, spoke about Charlie's legacy, but also what he describes as the sadness, grief, anger, and fear in the wake of his killing, saying it's as if a dark shadow was cast over the country. Speaker Johnson, also speaking to CBS News and Face the Nation, talked about the need for leaders to turn down the political rhetoric. Take a listen.
I think if we all adopt these practices together and we turn down the rhetoric, we cease with this idea that policy disputes are somehow an existential threat to democracy or the republic, I think this could be a turning point, frankly, to use Charlie's term, for the country, and I hope that's true.
And we're hearing this message from a number of lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. Senator Coons, a Delaware Democrat speaking to Face the Nation, also talked about the internet seeming to drive extremism in the country and a need to just step away from that. Speaker Johnson, in his interview, also noted the fear that's overtaken a number of lawmakers who are thinking about trying to boost security or had to cancel events over the weekend. Speaker Johnson saying that is being discussed as well over on Capitol Hill.
All right, Natalie Brand with the latest there. Thank you. The nonprofit Kirk started announced his funeral will take place this upcoming Sunday at State Farm Stadium there in Glendale, Arizona. President Trump plans to attend. Last night, there was a vigil at the Kennedy Center where many high-profile political figures spoke about Kirk's impact on the Republican Party and the MAGA movement.
It's happening in large part due to the blood, the sweat, and the tears that Charlie poured into this movement, not just during the 2024 cycle, but all the way back to the founding of Turning Point 13 years ago.
CBS News national correspondent Carter Evans joins us now from Spanish Fork, Utah. Good morning, Carter. You know, online, as we might imagine, there's so much speculation about what's happening, but what is accurate and new about the investigation?
Okay, well, first of all, I want to tell you where I am. This is the Utah County Jail, and this is where the suspect is right now. And he is in a special housing unit where he's under close supervision. They're trying to determine if he could be a harm to himself or others. Now, as for the investigation, over the weekend, we learned from Utah's governor a little bit more about the suspect's personal life, specifically that he was in a romantic relationship with his roommate, and that his roommate is in the process of transitioning genders. But the governor did point out that it's not clear if that's relevant to this case. He did say that that is something that they are looking into.
All right, Carter Evans, thank you. CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Zhang has more on this. Good morning, Weijia. President Trump continues to go after the political left following Charlie Kirk's assassination. What are you hearing?
That's right, Errol. He has basically said this since he first started making comments about Charlie Kirk's assassination. And last night here in Washington at the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts, there was a huge vigil for Charlie Kirk. Many senior administration officials and elected leaders were there, and they really spoke about Kirk and his influence on their lives, in many cases personally, because he was such a close friend to so many, especially here in the White House. President Trump did not attend this vigil, but earlier in the day, he did stop to, as you already mentioned, confirm he is attending Kirk's funeral this coming up weekend, and to talk about who he believes is responsible. Take a listen.
The problem is on the left. If you look at the problem is on the left. It's not on the right, like some people like to say on the right. The problem we have is on the left. And when you look at the agitators, you look at the scum that speaks so badly of our country, the American flag burnings all over the place, that's the left, that's not the right.
There has been a surge in political violence, Errol, in the past 15 months or so, with lawmakers in both parties, with political leaders in both parties targeted as victims. And the president has not yet been directly asked about the fact that, that is true. And we are hearing from other elected officials who are urging anyone who has a platform to tone down the rhetoric, to turn down the temperature, because this is such a vulnerable time for the country.
Yeah, and that's one point that seems to be bipartisan, to tone down the rhetoric. Weijia, thank you very much.